anything better than his peers, a remarkable athlete was being created. Although his junior career was less than impressive, at the age of 18, he made the quantum jump to the senior level and the dizzy heights of a Wimbledon semifinal. And after adding an NCAA singles championship to his belt while just a freshman at Stanford, he set out on a quest to be the world's best. And though the ride to the top has come amid large doses of controversy, ranting, and disgust, he has truly entrenched himself as one of tennis's all-time greats. Jimmy Connors hails from Belleville, Illinois, and started slowly in his junior career, but like McEnroe, captured an NCAA singles title at UCLA. Like the volatile McEnroe, Connors blazed a path of controversy and disdain through his years of rising to the cream of the tennis crop in the 70s. Their careers have become intertwined, their lives an open book for all to read. And through the many years and many great moments they've shared, they meet again in the dense twilight of Jimmy Connors' career and the approaching one of McEnroe's. This is the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, California, where tonight the 1989 Michelin Challenge 1 gets set to showcase two of the greatest names in professional tennis history. It's next on Prime Ticket. And in the preliminary match, the 13-year-old sensation, Jennifer Capriati, takes on Laura Gildemeister, ranked number 19 in the world in women's tennis. Hello, everybody. This is Mike Walden. Welcome to a big night of tennis. Down through the years, there have been some great matchups in the world of tennis. Some names that come to mind: Bobby Riggs against Don Budge. You also had Jack Kramer against Pancho Gonzalez. And, of course, Rod Laver versus Ken Rosewall. Well, you can add two other names to that list of great matchups: John McEnroe and Jimmy Connors. Now, Jimmy Connors has been playing professional tennis for nearly 2 decades. And what a list of accomplishments by this great player. 109 singles championships, over $8 million in earnings, 8 Grand Slam titles, and look at this, ranked number 1 at the end of the year from 1974 through 1978. Well, the last time Connors played here at the Great Western Forum was last spring, and he had a tough battle with Robert Suguso, who is noted basically for his doubles play, but Suguso is an outstanding singles player as well. Suguso took the first set, and then it was a tough battle all the way down the line until Connors lost in the third set, but he went down blazing, as he always does. He's a real street fighter and a real competitor. Well, when you look at Jimmy Connors, he's 37 years old, and he's still going strong, and so is our tennis analyst, Vic Braden.
37? I don't even know anybody that young. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, he's playing John McEnroe. John McEnroe's in shape, better shape than I've seen him in 3 years of play. McEnroe, to me, has more variety than almost any tennis player that I've ever seen. He and Rod Laver, who was one of his heroes, by the way. It's a great matchup for me because it's a lot of flexibility against a particular style, a very rigid style that Connors plays, but very effective style. Boy, and they have won a ton of money playing that way.
I'll say, just look at John McEnroe's accomplishments.
Not bad. 75 singles championships. That's big. $10 million buys a lot of pelotas, I'll tell you that. 7 Grand Slam titles, and just like Connors, he had his own run. Number 1 from 81 to 84.
The last time we saw John McEnroe here at the Great Western Forum was last December in a battle with Ivan Lendl.
I tell you, he loves to play Lendl, and the crowd here at the Forum always knows they're in for a match, because when Lendl plays McEnroe, McEnroe somehow or another gets out of bed on the right side and plays beautiful tennis, and he drives people crazy. He gets everything back. And Lendl, who's noted for driving other people crazy, just can't stand it and just bingo.
And of course, you see hitting to the net once in a while against John McEnroe. Well, McEnroe and Connors have hooked up some 33 times on the professional tennis circuit, and at one time, McEnroe had won 10 in a row, but Connors has won the last 2.
That's not bad. When you win the last two from Mac, it doesn't matter. You got to be playing well, and he's playing like a 10-year-old.
Absolutely. And the last time that McEnroe and Connors graced the Great Western Forum court was back in December of 1985.
Well, I tell you, I think this is what got Connors going. He said, look, I got to play really well against Mac if I'm going to play well, and he's kind of a standard for me if I can play well against Mac. But in this match, he did not play well. Mac actually juiced him pretty doggone good in straight sets, and the match was over quickly. But right after that, Connors started coming on very strong.
And I think McEnroe was really at the peak of his career at that time.
Well, he was coming back awfully strong. I don't know if he was at his peak, but you're right. He was playing the best that I've seen him play for a while.
I told you we had a great night of tennis. In the preliminary match tonight, you'll be able to see the 13-year-old phenom, Jennifer Capriati from Florida.
Well, she's not bad. I tell you, Chris Everett was on Saturday Night Live last week, but this girl is in the Mickey Mouse Hall of Fame.
The what?
The Mickey Mouse Hall of Fame. 13-year-old, she's a winner.
Those days where everything went right, and Jimmy's had some days like that against me, and it should be a great match tonight.
Well, Jimmy Connors has had some great matches, certainly, against this guy. And we also posed the same question to Jimmy Connors. Now, Jimmy is 37. What match does he remember the most in his battles with John McEnroe?
Well, a lot of McEnroe matches stand out for me. Some that I've won, some that I've lost. We played one night at the U.S. Open to 7-6 in the fifth, which is a match that I lost in the semifinal, which I think I played some of the best tennis possible. Another match is one that I won 6-4 in the fifth at Wimbledon in '82. So those are just two of maybe 30 matches that stand out in my mind that we have played. No matter what the score, really, it always brings out the best tennis, and hopefully in both of us.
I like the new hairstyle of Jimmy Connors. I remember when he first entered the scene, he had that Prince Valiant cut. And now he's a mature, good-looking young man. Jimmy Connors and McEnroe coming up next here on the Prime Ticket Network. Well, Vic Braden, how do you handicap this match?
Well, it's a terrific match, but I got to go to McEnroe on the forehand side, Connors on the backhand side, McEnroe on the serve side, net play McEnroe, foot speed. I call it even for different reasons. Court sense, that's a big one. That is even. Boy, two smart dudes out there. But intangibles, McEnroe. He's won when he had to win. He has lost the last two, but now he's getting ready for some big matches of the year, and he says, I've got to win.
You've seen a lot of the Connors-McEnroe matches. What were you saying about their matchups about, let's say 10 years ago?
Well, 10 years ago, it was just a little bit different. McEnroe on the forehand side, Connors on the backhand side was the same. McEnroe on the serve was the same, and the net play was the same. Foot speed, McEnroe was a little faster. Jimmy has speeded up or maintained. McEnroe seemed to have lost a little. Court sense, McEnroe 10 years ago was coming on and could hardly make a mistake. And intangibles, McEnroe, everybody said, was the smartest player in the history of the game. Now, here's what that tells me. Connors is better with age. He's coming on. He's improved.
Indeed, he is coming on. Coming onto the court here at the Great Western Forum.
They love him, don't they?
Indeed they do, and they also have a great affection for John McEnroe. I would be interested to see how the crowd is divided in its loyalty here. Will they be going for McEnroe or Connors? They look at that. McEnroe always plays well here at the Forum, too. He really digs this crowd that come out to see him play.
Well, he usually is sitting about 8 feet back in the first row of the Lakers games. But in this case, he's right out there on the center floor, gets the ball for the big shot.
John McEnroe, 30 years old. Jimmy Connors, 37. The introductions are now being made.
You know, as you watch Jimmy Connors take the wrapping off a newly strung racket, I got to remind you, he wears a new pair of shoes every day. At Converse, they make him 365 pair of shoes.
Even if he just puts them on to go outside and discards them, is that it?
He feels that he's got a new shoe for him. He said he works them so hard it becomes a different shoe. And so he's got to play with the same shoe, and that means a new pair every time he plays.
If you'll recall, about this time a year ago, Jimmy Connors had some foot surgery. He's had problems with his feet.
Well, I remember we did the study way back. Dr. Gideon Ariel and I did a study down in Palm Springs. We monitored movement at high-speed cameras, and we made an interesting discovery. He did have blisters. People thought he was cutting out of the Masters, and he was chickening out. His feet were bloody on the tops of his feet, not on the bottom. And he drags his foot a little bit in a very unique kind of pattern, but he's so fast you don't see it.
A lot of tennis writers, people in the media, like to ask Jimmy Connors when he's going to retire. Well, what about John McEnroe? How much longer is he going to play on the tennis circuit and be out there battling and all of the stress and the strain?
Well, I'm going to go a couple more years, and I'm going to see what's happening at that point. You know, I feel like if I don't improve the way I want to the next 2 years, then I'll probably stop after a couple more. But if things are going real well at that time, I'd probably hang on another year or so.
Wonder what John has to say about his performance in 1989.
Well, you know, he said, we kept asking him, well, what are your standards? What is it you want to win? But knowing all the great athletes, or most of the great athletes in tennis in the last 40 years, most all of them say, unless I'm number one, I'm not where I want to be.
Now, when you talk retirement with Jimmy Connors, you ask the question gently and then duck. He doesn't like to talk about retirement, but the question still comes up.
Well, I don't answer that anymore. I'm getting a little bit tired of answering that, just due to the fact that I'm still playing, continuing to play quite well. So as long as I feel I can raise my game to a certain standard that I'm satisfied with, then why not continue to play?
Absolutely. Why not continue to play? Although I think over the years he has mellowed somewhat. He has great business interests, loves his family, and he wants to spend more and more time with his wife, Patty, and their daughter and son. And the same can be said for John McEnroe, living out here at Malibu. There's the tail of the tape on Mac.
Boy, he is fit. And as I told you earlier, he said, you finally have to make up your mind. You're going to go all the way, do it right, or get out. Son of a gun, is he trim. Remember, he came out here on one of our Michelin events and was a little heavier and trying to eat, and one of his advisors had told him he should be a little heavier, and he could not put it together. He said, nope, I got to be lighter. I got to be tougher. I got to be more firm.
At one time, Jimmy Connors resided up in the Santa Barbara area, but no longer, living back in the East and down in Florida.
Well, 37 years of age, 5'10", and 153 pounds. That's exactly how many $1 million he's made, just about $1 million a pound.
I remember about this time a year ago, they were talking about maybe Connors hosting a game show, because he is very glib, as you just saw a moment ago in his response to the retirement question. But he said, look, I've got too many tennis commitments. And he has a lot of business commitments, endorsements, TV commercials, and the like. This past year, he's made over $2 million in those alone.
Hey, not bad. You know, when I hear that, you know, and I have to save up to get weighed, you know, that just knocks me out. $2 million in endorsements. Woo! Could I handle that?
The Michelin Challenge is brought to you by Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. Michelin, by Great Western's family of companies with over $35 billion in assets, 100 years strong. Great Western will always be there. And by your Toyota dealers and the powerful 1990 Camry V6. Toyota, I love what you do for me. Jan Ryan will be the chair umpire for this match. Jimmy Connors, John McEnroe.
You know, talk about these two guys being around a long time. We mentioned earlier about Jan Ryan having done so much research. By the way, there's something that's been around a long time called money. Lindell at 14 mil. Well, no wonder he's out there hustling on the golf course. He's got some money to spend.
Nice round of applause for Jimmy Connors. I would guess, and this is just speculation on my part, about 60% of the crowd will be pulling for McEnroe and 40% for Connors. Listen to this response as McEnroe's name is finally announced.
Are we doing an applause meter, Michael?
Well, I just know how in the matches that we have done, it seems like the crowd really gets back of Mac every time he's out there here at the Great Western Forum. Patty Connors, Jimmy's wife, in attendance tonight.
She's really a beautiful woman.
Absolutely.
And she's always looked so wonderful in the stands. I've never seen her go berserk. Never seen her. So I've seen her applaud the opponent and always be very courteous. I take my hat off to her. If, you know, when you're following Jimmy, there's a lot of emotion.
Oh, absolutely. But I think Jimmy has really mellowed in the last 3-4 years, what with the wife and, of course, the son and the daughter. And he's stopping to sniff the roses. Oh, yeah, he wants to win, and he will. He'll battle just as he did 10 years ago. But he doesn't have to play each and every week in, week out.
Well, you're not going to tell this guy. John McEnroe's lost the last 2 matches to him. And McEnroe says, hey, wait a minute, I want to know what this guy's eating.
Matter of fact, Connors beat McEnroe 6-3, 6-3 just last month in a tournament over in France. McEnroe said, I've never have I seen Jimmy play any better than he did over in France. This introduction of McEnroe may take us into tomorrow. It's still going on. That may be a new record. Now we're into the doubles competition, or the doubles achievements of John McEnroe.
Well, let's be honest. He was a great doubles player and still is. He and Peter Fleming won everything.
That's absolutely right. Steffi Graf is coming up next in the Michelin Challenge Tennis Series against Zina Garrison. That'll be Tuesday, the 12th of December, live at 7:30 on Prime Ticket. Steffi Graf and Zina Garrison. The introduction to McEnroe is still going.
That's the longest I've ever heard.
It's about 7 minutes, I think.
But you know, Mike, if they were introing you and me, it'd be, hey,
7 seconds.
Pismo Beach closed. Here he is.
And there is John McEnroe's wife, Tatum O'Neill. So we have the husbands and the wives on hand, and a crowd, as I look around, maybe 7, 8, maybe perhaps even 9,000 in attendance.
Well, you look forward to this kind of match. You know, Jimmy never lets you down. I remember we were, Don Drysdale and I were doing a telecast. We were in Montreal. Is that the Maurice Richard Stadium there, Mike? I think it is. We were doing a telecast, and Jimmy Connors was down triple match point to Eli Nastase, and none of the players, every one of the players on the tour said Connors would still win the match. And he did, down triple match point. Boy, that's the confidence people have in Jimmy Connors. He fights right to the end.
Always has, and always will. '109 singles championships by Connors. Next in line, Yvonne Lendl with 82, and McEnroe is coming up 75. McEnroe in 3rd place. But 109 singles championships.
Yeah, they still have a way to go to catch up with Martina and Chris, and look at that, 75.
But 65 doubles championships. He loves doubles.
You know, he said it relaxed him, but my opinion is that some people get too relaxed. They wait too long. We were working with some shot putters and wrestlers and others, weightlifters before the Olympics, and they laid out a little bit long, and by the time the Olympics started, they were so doggone nervous and wound up. And I think some people take a little too much rest and try too much space between matches.
Speaking of rest, Jimmy Connors says that this is about it for him in 1989. He'll enjoy the Thanksgiving Day holiday with his wife and kids and friends and family, and then really not play any competitive tennis until February. And Connors will start it off. Connors will serve to McEnroe. Sam Lagana, the public address announcer here at the forum, has really gone all out for this one.
He's juiced them up pretty good.
He's really hyped for this match. Okay, the crowd settles down now as Connors goes into his motion.
The serve has improved. He said he gets kind of tired of me talking about his old serve.
With the old T2000 racket, remember that?
Well, Jimmy giving the ball boy a lesson on how to throw the ball right off the bat. Ball boy will not forget that for about 30 years.
Because these two have so much respect for one another. They're not the best of buddies, but they have great respect for one another. We might get some interesting dialogue from our microphones down there in the court. Talk about a serve. Whoa, Jimbo.
He's much more continuous motion. He used to throw the ball about 10 feet in the air. Uh-oh. McEnroe doesn't like that. That's an interruption.
Yeah. Samson. Well, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have said that at that time. Back to this. Are we going to have these interruptions during play or what? We only had 2 points.
Well, they broke up Jan Ryan. Boy, Jimmy is throwing that ball lower. His racket is much more continuous motion than he used to have. When we did the first study on him, he was falling, and the ball was dropping 6, 7, 8 feet. Jimmy's already working the crowd. Some of them trying to work Jimmy. I hate to see some of that, though, because some people know that they'll respond, so they start yelling in the middle of a point. Kind of interferes with some enjoyment.
To pick up on that point, Vic, I remember we were down at Indian Wells, and he was having a tough battle with Chesnikoff, and somebody said, "Come on, Jimmy, let's go." And Connors turned around and says, "Where should we go?" Broke up everybody. 40-15.
Boy, has he changed. He has dropped the service toss about 8 feet. Good for him. Only shows you can make the changes.
Game to Jimmy Connors. First game of this best of 3-set match from the Great Western Forum. Tenth in the world, Jimmy Connors. Strong service game to start out. And now it'll be up to John McEnroe. McEnroe with that elongated motion of his. Puts a lot of stress on his back. Wonder if John wouldn't have more of a back problem with this motion.
Ladies and gentlemen, just a reminder, no flags during play. Thank you.
Now watch it, take a look. Now you'll see his racket turn up, and most people say, well, that racket's going to turn up, Vic. He's not turning it down. But now watch right there. See, it flip-flops. That's what you have to do when you pitch the ball, probably. But people don't see it. Good camera. So, well, he starts with his palm up when he serves. So that's how I'm going to do it. And then their ball takes 2 days to arrive. How come McEnroe can do it? Well, in the middle of the swing, he flip-flops it and puts the palm down. There goes the palm up. Now, drops it over.
Volley by McEnroe. Did he pick that one up? Loosey-goosey.
So he has such great hand-eye coordination. Good racket head work. Speaking of racket head, down that Max Fly. 50 pounds. He strings very loosely.
30-15.
is concerned about his serve. He said, look, this guy, Jimmy Connors, has one of the best service returns in the history of the game. I did not pull him wide that time, and I was lucky to get out of the hole. Mac was shaking his head. You got to get a better serve. There it is, dude. Oh, we get another shot at this. This is great. Look at the palm turn up. And that's what people try to do, turn the palm up. But they don't see him flip it. See? It turns over the other side. Now he has some good racket hit snap. You turn that palm up, and that's what they call the woman's throw. That's not a macho statement. That's just what it's called.
The left and the net tied to John McEnroe.
You know, men and women who do that and turn the palm up just don't have a serve. Women who put the palm down have a serve. Ooh, I got to tell you, Connors Betty Stova story.
Oh, wow! He not only got over there, but then ripped it right down the line.
When Jimmy Connors was first serving with his old serve, 72 miles an hour, Betty Stova had better motion, served 85. She's 13 miles an hour faster than Jimmy on our study. And Jimmy just kept getting better, better, and better.
Talking about Connors' low toss after that first game, people watching this, listening, they're going to go out tomorrow at their tennis club and immediately have a low toss. See if they can emulate the success.
Well, you just want continuous racket hit, and there it is. You see, Jimmy's now got continuous racket hit speed.
So from long 30 to 30 all.
You know, when you stop in the middle of a swing, it's like a caballero, so, you know, a cowboy lassoing, and then he stops in the middle, he lassos his own horse. You know, you can't stop, and that's what Jimmy used to do. Now watch Jimmy. He starts. Once he starts, boy, he exits. Smart. He has done better. I take my hat off to him. Get a good look right here. Continuous motion. Goes back slowly and then... Oh!
Step shot in any league.
Well, you want to pay tribute to McEnroe's volley. He just puts that racket out there, points to where he wants that ball to go. No fancy stuff, no flicky little wrist play. He is a superb volleyer. Just look at that doubles record, 65 titles.
Back just a point away from a service break.
Broken string, I think.
Either that or a miss hit.
Well, it was a miss hit, and John says you're sneaking up the joint.
Tosses the racket aside.
Draws a smile from Jimmy. Well, you know, it's a little embarrassing. Hit the ball off the frame. John says before the night's over, you'll see another shot coming off this racket.
It's wide. Advantage, Jimmy Connors. This is the first time that Connors and McEnroe played here at the Great Western Forum in 4 years. Boy, beautiful. My goodness. What do you think that was?
I'll tell you, that's about 105, 110 miles an hour.
Jimmy Connors with a 2-1 lead first set.
Well, we've been talking a lot about Jimmy Connors' service, haven't we?
Yeah, you bet. Well, we're talking about right now, I asked Jimmy earlier because I watched him play Rosewall in the finals of Wimbledon, and Rosewall was getting a little older, and so he took the ball on the rise to beat him out. And I said, hey, Jimmy, are guys starting to do that to you now?
Well, I guess you can teach old dogs new tricks once in a while. I feel that I've worked a little bit on my serve. I've watched some of the great servers that are playing the game today, such as McEnroe, and tried to pick out of his motion and of his serve what would probably be good for me, and I've tried to put that into effect. I never made a living off of my serve. It was always everything else, but if I can continue to improve that and make it a little bit better, maybe that'll shorten the points and keep me around a bit longer.
Keep me around a bit longer, huh?
Yeah, well, keep it around a little bit longer. I thought we were going to get to the question. That was my fault, Michael, because I'd asked him about taking the ball on the rise. But let's get back to the serve. I could not believe how hard he was hitting the serve, and I was very impressed. And that's why I asked him the question, and I wanted to give little hope to people out there who say you can't change. I've had so many pros tell me, you can't change your serve when you're at this stage of the game. Well, Jimmy did it. Bjorn Borg did it and won Wimbledon 5 years in a row. Barry McKay double faulted 27 times against Sorolla in Italy, had to come back as the #1 player and change his serve.
27 times?
27 times.
Barry McKay will not like to be reminded of that.
And he was a superb player.
Savvy. A lot of guys that play the game occasionally would have jerked that ball into the net, hit it too soon. Look at this. Wham! 30 love.
Not bad.
Vintage Connors.
Watch him step into the ball. Oh, that's super. And this McEnroe is so hard to pass.
Please take that next one off, will you?
You can feel this match building, can't you?
Well, I think any time that two great players play each other, they just don't want to come in second to field the two. And I think also when you've lost 2 matches in a row to a guy like Connors, I mean, McEnroe's got to be saying, wait a minute, there's got to be a new formula out there. I think you'll find him experimenting a little bit, too.
That was wide. John is upset with himself. Yeah, look at that.
Well, he let his elbow get into his body, and when your elbow comes in anatomically, the racket head lays back a little bit. Now watch this. See the elbow in too close? The racket's laid back a little bit, and that pulls the ball wide.
40-30. even, 2 apiece, first set. I'm Mike Walden, along with Vic Brayton from the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, California, the Michelin Challenge Tennis 1. In the first match, the 13-year-old wonder girl from Florida was a victor over Laura Gildemeister in straight sets. Jimmy Connors has had more than his share. Open victories, 2 Wimbledon titles, a total of 109 singles championships.
Slightest downhill. We've talked about it 1,000 times. 2-3 degree downhill from mid-court. You pull that ball into the net. Now watch. Look how he leans in. Now watch this racket head drop. That drop is all you need to net the ball. You've got to keep that racket head up and punch that ball out.
By Jimmy Connors.
Well, I tell you, I'm impressed.
That's his second in this match.
He has a lot of sauce he didn't have before. Uh-oh.
Did Mac think it was out? I guess so.
Mac is trying to change the pace a little bit. You don't want to let a guy ace you and then walk up to the line with some rhythm. You want to start getting into some conversation. Watch on the replay. You take a guess. That's pretty close. Hard to see from this perspective. Not hard to see that McEnroe missed it by a foot.
Oh, that is a... Did they call it out? They did. And Mac is really upset. The linesperson called it long.
Oh, there's a guy who's looking like he was caught in a cookie jar. Let's take a look again. What do you think?
John Bramlett made the call.
Well, these guys are down there. There are an awful lot of shots that we thought lines people were wrong on, but when we got the high-speed film back, they were right on target. Boy, this is a hard shot. Because you're coming off the rotator cuff, the shoulder. You don't have a chance to snap the forearm. You got to get last-minute stuff. Boy, it's a beautiful shot. Watch the reaction.
I can't believe you did it.
It looks like James Conner.
40-15.
You keep getting younger, you toad.
You do it any way you can.
That one took a bite out of Jim Flood.
Oh, the crowd's gonna...
Little showtime.
Okay. Mac not to be denied. He's got a little stick of his own.
First set, 2-all. That is out. Game to Jimmy Connors. Connors, 3-2 in the first set. Best of 3 from the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, California.
Honey, I think it's time we got a new set of Michelin.
Winners from his forehand. McEnroe, 3 out of 3 winners from his backhand.
That's not an easy thing to do. Early on, when we kept stats on Connors, he was 10 errors on the forehand side for every backhand error.
A year ago this time, Jimmy Connors was having some bone chips and bone spurs removed from his left foot.
Never.
Wondered how he was going to come back and how he would fare. He's done pretty well. Won 2 tournaments this year. Boy, they're picking on Jim Flood down there. That's tough. Look at that. Oh! Great reaction. Great anticipation. Mac guessed right.
Not only guessed right, but I think what's so tough about it, watch Connors now. He knows how to take the ball on the rise. He's already moving, and that shows you how fast McEnroe is. Fine soccer player. Watch this. Mac is on his way. Call that cab, baby. Unhappy dude. Mac has one of the best slices on the left-hand side. Pull you so far out of court.
Another one at the net.
Mac's working on the lines person again. He's doing it with a smile. It's the first time I've seen that. It's pretty fit. Stanford singles champion. He and Jimmy Connors both. They won the NCAAs and dropped out of the game.
And both won as a freshman. Mac at Stanford, Connors at UCLA. Played for Glenn Bassett. Dick Gould's had great success up at Stanford. Frank Brennan, women's tennis coach up there.
I used to ask Jimmy all the time in doing telecasts, how do you think people will play? And he got tired of me asking that too, but it's kind of a necessary thing. But he said they'll play me the same way they always play me, to my forehand.
There's one ingredient about Connors' game. Return of serve. 40-15.
Jimmy looks sharp.
A.C. Green of the Los Angeles Lakers. 6'7", 6'8". I bet he's tough to lob.
Really been doing some fine rebounding.
Hasn't he? McEnroe by winning the game. This match against Jimmy Connors, it's tied at 3.
Well, you get a chance to watch Jimmy really thread this one. But it doesn't matter, though he threads it. So does Mac. You know, the first time I ever saw Jimmy Connors, he was playing a match, he's in the 10 and under, and this elderly lady walks out in the middle of the court and stops the match, just like it's happening right now. And she grabs a towel and starts wiping Jimmy's forehead off in the middle of a match. And I'm going, what is this? Turns out to be young Jimmy Connors' grandmother, just taking care of him when he looked like he was sweating too much. Chattanooga, Tennessee.
I remember one afternoon in Chicago, finals of a tournament. I think 16 were involved in the tournament. Connors was playing Lindell, and Lindell got piffed about some calls, and he started to walk off the court. We had a microphone at the end of the court. Connors sat down in the chair and carried on a conversation with us for 10, 15 minutes while they coaxed Lindell back. We kept hearing, "Hey, Vic, how you guys doing up there?" Where's that coming from? It was Connors. He grabbed the mic. Wonder if the lights bothered McEnroe on the overhead.
Well, Jennifer Capriati
He's
said
looking up in that direction.
the lights bother her a little bit, but they don't bother you as much unless you're losing. McEnroe 9 unforced errors. That pretty much tells the picture, and his plan is to cut down on his errors. He knows what he's got to do.
Connors has a 40-love lead. Interesting, 5 more unforced errors by McEnroe, and yet it's a 3-3 deadlock here in the first set. Jennifer Capriati, who was the victor over Laura Gildemeister, 6-4, 6-1, seated with her father, Stefano. Remember, Jennifer is just in the 8th grade in Florida, 13 years old. And they say the next great tennis player in the U.S.
Oh, now it's Jimmy's chance to take a second look, but he does not do it. Boy, that was a very close shot. The linesperson's right there. The ball's only on the court 3 milliseconds, so if you shot at 1,000 frames per second, you'd only get the ball on the court 3 frames.
Smashes the rocket to the court. It's a Connors lead.
Yeah, the guy that's in charge of the court, they're supposed to come down about 8 games.
Major title. I'm talking about a U.S. Open, French Open, Wimbledon.
Well, I don't think anybody is that far ahead of anyone in men's tennis. And on a given day, either of these players could win. See, Jimmy has a better chance of winning, in my opinion, now because he has a better serve than he had 4 years ago. If he had had this serve 3 years ago, he'd have won Wimbledon and the U.S. Open. He was a semifinalist.
Mac didn't lose that overhead on the lights. McEnroe has won 3 tournaments this year. Connors has won 2. An ace thrown in by McEnroe, his first. There's number 2.
It's a great thrill to ace Jimmy Connors because his service return, his wife says so too, because Jimmy's service return is so great. But I got to be honest with you, about 8 or 9 years ago, the pro players would tell you the worst nightmare you ever had was to be aced by Jimmy Connors. But now, he hits that ball a ton.
McEnroe has always had that nervous habit of tugging each side of his shirt before he serves.
Well, why do you think he's not coming into the net? That's what I want to know. His style is serve and go, serve and go.
I said that and he didn't do it.
Very good.
So 3 aces in this game. And McEnroe has pulled even with Jimmy Connors, 4-all. Jimmy might have looked up and out of the corner of his eye saw Mac charging the net, caused him to dump it into the net. The Slazenger prototype, 65 pounds of tension. Others. How did he get that? How in the world did he get it and then put it right on the line?
McEnroe, I think, thinks the ball was out. He's going to debate it. Boy, it's a tough play.
Maybe the chairs jammed by. Thought he was going to say something to him. He fouled off instead.
Well, he did. He was yelling. He was looking up at the chair. That doesn't seem to phase Jan, does it?
Not at all.
Hey, what's new, dude? I tell you, Connor's reaction is absolutely better than McEnroe's.
The start of the match that he was going to give it 2 more years and make a determination to see where he would be.
But you know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, Mac would take that service return on the rise like that second ball, and he would astound me. He would go 11, 12 service returns in a row without an error. He doesn't do that anymore. You find 50% errors, 30% errors.
This is the first set. McEnroe, Connors tied 4-all. That's 30-all. And this is the 9th game.
You know, there are about 4 players that I know who really knew how to take care of the opening when they saw it, as McEnroe and Connors do. The great Jack Kramer, he would wait for hours for a short ball. Laver, Rosewall were just unbelievable, waiting for a slight little error. McEnroe and Connors are 2 players who are in that ilk.
Jimmy Connors gives McEnroe the game and the lead 5-4. Jimmy will pause for a little refreshment.
Well, you know, Jimmy, I had asked him earlier, and when I went south on you folks, hang in there with me, because I really wanted to find out, as you get older, you begin to lose about 30, 40 milliseconds in time. So he started putting pressure on Ken Rosewall and won Wimbledon. Now, I ask him, are people putting the same kind of pressure on him as he gets older?
Well, I think trying's the right word. Whether they're successful or not is another thing. But I feel that my game has lasted over 20 years. It survived a number of decades already, and to still be able to go out and try to lift that same game and against the youth of today and also the great champions of today is a great challenge. How they play me and the way they go about it is really up to them, but how I play and my response is going to be the same way that got me to this position, and that's what I enjoy.
18 years on the pro circuit, and he's been in the top 10 16 of those years.
Well, you know something? I don't think he answered my question. I'm just trying to figure out if he's a half a step slower. He says, no, I'm just going to play my game. I don't know if he is a half a step slower. To me, I think he's moving very well. Now, we know we did a Wimbledon winner who had, let me get this point out, who had the worst hand-eye coordination, was a Wimbledon winner. I won't tell you his name, but he had the best anticipation. So as your anticipation gets better, you can be a little slower, but still be there.
Nice backpedaling by John McEnroe. That's not an easy shot, needless to say. wonder if McEnroe is going to play the Australian Open. It's coming up in about a month.
Well, I think the way he's conditioning himself, I don't think he'd want to lose out on that condition. Because you start laying off a little bit too much.
Almost hit a ripple in the court. Took a strange hop. Well, we know that Connors won't play in the Australian Open. He's going to take off until sometime in February and just enjoy his family, pursue some other business interests, and just kind of relax over the holidays. Come back in February. Love. Talk about your transcontinental points. They were all over the court. McEnroe, a winner of the first set, 6-4.
Boy, a lot of running. Mac out there, Jimmy just sizing it up. Look at Mac so far out of court. Beautiful shot back. That's all you can ask for. Now Mac's got the angle. Straight ball, crooked. Jimmy's on the dead run. Caught a little low. Catches the net. I mean, he's pushing Mac around on that serve. When I get a chance, if I get a chance to interview Mac, I'm going to ask him, how many miles more do you think Jimmy's getting on that serve now?
Miles of velocity.
Miles per hour, right?
I think the point that you're making, Dick Brayton, is that had Connors had this serve 5-10 years ago, he might have another Wimbledon U.S. Open championship to his credit.
Hey, there wouldn't be 109, there'd be 159 in my opinion. I really, truly believe that because he had to struggle. I used to chart his matches. He had to struggle to hang in there on his serve, and he had to break serve to stay in matches. Now he'd be winning serves.
That's way out. Connors has won Wimbledon twice in 74 and 82, but here is an interesting stat on Jimmy. He was the runner-up 3 other times, 75, 77, and 78.
With no serve.
That's the point I was getting back to, yes.
He disagrees with me on that. I mean, he's getting the short ball back because of the serve. But let me tell you something. When you have a great serve like Poncho Gonzalez, when you serve the ball like this, now you put the guy out of court. It isn't just what your serve does for you. It's now you're free to hit your service return. Well, Jimmy already has a great service return. Gonzalez would nail you. Now he knew he'd win every other game. So now on the service return, he would just swing out. He lost in the finals to Gonzalez. LA Open, Gonzalez at 41 years of age, I think at 40, had a win over Jimmy.
Jimmy Connors takes the first game of the second set. It was McEnroe 6-4 in the first. We're here at the Great Western Forum, Inglewood, California. To check over the first set stats, especially unforced errors. At one time, McEnroe had 5 more, but he had only 2 more in the first set.
Well, on winners, still 17 winners. But I say that what's really happening is the player who's up ahead is winning the right point at the right time. So it's been a seesaw battle, so it will boil down to 1 or 2 shots at key times. But McEnroe is seeming a little confused. To me, he does not have a rhythm. He doesn't feel in control.
And yet he won the first set. Blistering backhand by Jimmy. for John.
You know, he knows how to pick his shots so well. I'll go anywhere to watch these two players play. I'll travel a lot of distance. A lot of players I wouldn't do that for, but these two guys showed me lots. Jimmy showed me a lot of hustle. He's improving, staying in there. His 30s, beating the brains out of 17-year-olds who can run country mile. See, Mike is shooting. That's the shot he would never miss. I mean, he would go match after match and get a short ball on the approach and lay it in there about a foot inside the baseline. Now he'll miss by a yard sometime, long, or 5 yards shorter than he normally hits. So that's what I mean when I say he doesn't. He wasn't lucky. See, he would do it time after time, be down match point, and pull off the approach shot deep into the corner.
A little tit for tat.
Well, that's a tough shot, Jimmy. I think said, man, I think I should have drilled it now. I look back at it the next time. Play that little short court happy game where you're in trouble. Nice serve, Mike.
Absolutely right in the corner. McEnroe wins the second game of the second set. 1-all.
You know, when I talk about Jimmy's serve, B.G. Armitage once told me, look at my record against Jimmy. He said, people just don't realize that he's serving 70-some miles an hour, a grunt going 130. So they were afraid. He said, I like to play him. I got a nice record against him, but I think that won't change him.
Ambercross, B.J. is playing on the 35 and over circuit, but he also plays in some of the other tournaments like the U.S. Open.
Fine spokesperson for tennis.
Absolutely. Some shot. Even Connors had to salute that.
You bet. When you watch the replay, watch how deep Jimmy Connors hit the ball. Max off there on the back foot, falling backwards and still passing a beautiful shot. 65 feet 9 inches on that shot. Hard to hit that hard and that crisp. Oh, ooh, look out.
Shane Goodman made the call, and quickly.
I don't know, when Jimmy pointed, was Jimmy saying, good call, lousy call, it was out? What was he saying? Let's take a look. Ooh. I have to tell you, I think Jane Goodman was right.
McEnroe is 30, will celebrate his 31st in mid-February. Connors just turned 37 in September.
try the shot. Watch now, you'll see this little drop shot. For nearly everybody else I know except this man, the ball rolls down their thigh. It's a beautiful shot. Well played.
I think Jane Goodman called it out, and she immediately corrected it.
And that's the mark of a good lines person. You make a mistake, you change your call. It's just unfortunate. Players hate to have that happen to them on a key point. But it is. Notice the players know that that's the professional approach.
So you play the point over. 30-40.
Usually you see the reaction from the player who thought they'd won the point the first time, right after this point ends. Should they lose it.
He's on the run. Can't catch up with that one. As Mac pulled it right down the line, right on the white marker.
Now you see Connors, he is mad, boy. He had some words for Jane Goodman.
Connors takes a 2-1 lead over McEnroe in the second set. It was McEnroe 6-4 in the first. The Michelin Challenge is brought to you by Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. Michelin, by Great Western's family of companies with over $35 billion in assets, 100 years strong. Great Western will always be there. And by Chevrolet and the new limited edition Chevy 454 SS pickup truck. 454 cubic inches of raw V8 power. They're going fast at your Southern California Chevrolet and Geo dealers. Let's take a look at that point again.
We're playing now the short ball. Watch Mac play a real short ball to make Jimmy get down low. Mac opens up the court. Didn't have to hit it this sharply, but it was beautifully played.
He didn't slug it either. He wanted to make sure of the shot. Precision. 4 U.S. Open, Wimbledon 3. Came on the scene when he was 17 at Wimbledon. Everybody went berserk. They said, who is this kid McEnroe? A lot of Americans really didn't know who he was. Well, McEnroe won 42 straight matches till he lost to Lendl in the '84 French Open final. Remember when he was up 2-0? He lost in the fifth set. Jimmy was trying to block that back.
79.
That was his best year, '84, no doubt about it.
Oh, goodness gracious, give me a break. That is so good. So hard to do. There's so many talented players. You know, when way back, there were only about 12, 13, 14 fairly good pros. There are now about 8,000 players who could qualify for pro tennis.
You're talking about the major tournaments?
Yep.
8,000. Shows you what money has done.
There he goes again.
This is what the crowd came to see.
Boy, give Mac credit. Jimmy ran him all over, but Mac anticipating getting there.
McEnroe has been very sharp and crisp in those volleys.
Racket work is... This guy is a genius. Love to watch him play.
And he always loves to play for the U.S. Davis Cup team.
Jimmy is hitting that ball clean. That means a lot. I remember walking into the Chapultepec Club once with Pancho Gonzalez, and he stopped us all and said, listen, Rafael Osuna is really playing well. Listen, he's hitting the ball cleanly on the strings.
Another game for John McEnroe. And McEnroe has a 3-1 lead in the second set after winning the first 6-4. Mac going to make this in straight sets?
I don't know. Kind of looks like it. When Connors looks like he's outplaying Mac and Mac is still winning. Oh, that's nice.
McEnroe seems to be in a nice groove.
Well, he's in a little bit better groove. He was up and down in unforced air, so he'd play a great shot. But watch him lift his body up. And when you lift up, allows you to get a little bit more topspin, play a shorter angle ball. Isn't funny, Jimmy has impressed me more tonight than he has in a long time, and he's losing. He's always impressive, I mean that. John does a little wiggle.
John McEnroe's actress wife, Tatum O'Neal, is here.
Not too bad.
Is that the funky chicken?
Connors broke a string. Oh, we get it, Jack. Oh, my God, the guy walks in sections. That's not bad. A little limbo stuff tonight.
All we needed was a calypso band.
That's right.
Jimmy Connors is down, but not out. Still a lot of battle left in him.
Jimmy, I think Mac's a little mad there because his choice of shots. If he's going to hit it cross court, he can't come up that softly because Jimmy gets the extra step. Get the extra step, court's wide open, the volley's yours.
I remember well when Mac made his first big splash in tennis. He was only 2 weeks out of high school, went to Wimbledon as a qualifier, and went to the semifinals, 1977.
Pretty big entry point. Oh, look at that. Boy, there's a fixie look. Watch Jimmy. Look at him get down with that ball. Look at him get down. Boy, you try to get 17-year-old kids to do that. Beautiful. He's got it.
Now let's see if Connors wants a little breather right there right now.
You bet.
See if he can close it out.
Go get him, Jimmy. They said he says, I need a nap.
40-30.
Good serve.
Game to Connors. You may reflect back upon that game as a key game, certainly, in the match. McEnroe 6-4 in the first set, now 3-2 in the second, but Connors coming on.
Like to go for it?
Inglewood, California. Connors battling back. And we've got a varied crowd on hand here tonight at the Forum.
Quiet, please. Thank you.
McEnroe to serve. He's up 3-2, but Connors battled hard to win that fifth game of this second set. Now Jimmy's on a roll. Well, maybe he tried to rip it down the line, but he went cross court instead. $15 all. Thirteen-year-old Jennifer Capriati, 6'4", 6'1", over Laura Gildenmeister of Miami, Peru, and Argentina in the preliminary match today. Capriati, the 8th grade, and just maybe on the verge of greatness. Plans to turn pro. How do you think she'll do once she goes into pro circuit?
Well, I think she's already given the mark. Everybody who's had that kind of a record has turned out to be a real superb money winner in pro tennis.
Amazing that McEnroe could even get his racket on the ball. There's Jennifer Capriati and her father Stefano.
Well, I'll tell you, if she's watching how Jimmy will recover and how he anticipates a short ball, excuse me, you just got to learn a ton when you watch this man. He knows what shot's coming back.
Jennifer had a chance to rally against both McEnroe and Connors. Oh, about 4 hours ago.
That was nice, wasn't it?
Yes.
To see bringing up the young girl and letting her really feel important. Jimmy's into it now, and I think this is one of the problems. You have fun with the crowd, then all of a sudden they get into it, and then the next thing you know, a key point comes along, they start talking to him while he's hitting, then he's upset. Makes it kind of tough, because you kind of lead the people into it.
Of course, the players now started this with the back and forth with the crowd.
That's what I'm saying, Michael. You know, and then some foreign suspecting person wants to say something funny. Turns out to not be funny till the player loses the point. Especially on Jimmy's forehand, he caught the tape of the net, which is one of his big problems.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a courtesy to our players, officials, and other spectators, please refrain from entering into the game by verbally talking during
set, 6-4. And it is 3-2. McEnroe in the second set. Now Connors is going to have a little discussion with Jan Lyon.
You told this out, lady? You watching the same match I'm playing? Huh?
It's Carol Green, one of the line's persons. I don't know if Jimmy is directing any remarks toward her. Back to the action now. McEnroe up 40-30.
Oh, beautiful.
And he threw in another ace. And for McEnroe, that's 6 aces.
Boy, and Jimmy's really working on the lines person right now. Hey, forget all this stuff, man. This is Wimbledon finals. I need some help.
Yes, Connors does need some help. 9,616. Excellent crowd here tonight. But you've got two of the most popular guys in tennis today playing here in front of the Los Angeles fans here in Inglewood, California, and both Connors and McEnroe extremely popular, and they put on a great show.
Mac is waiting for this young lady up in the stands, and she's seated now. Not quite. Players tell you just focus on the ball, but boy, they see people up in the 21st row.
I've seen Connors down in a situation just like this, and many times I've seen him battle back.
Well, he has the rare ability, I think, to continue to play the shot that needs to be hit. It doesn't matter what the score is. So that's why the players, the closer they come to winning, the more they know they're in trouble, because they start thinking, geez, I may have them. They get a little conservative. Remember when Machir had him down 5-love. I remember Machir had him down 5-love. He just couldn't believe it. He just knew out of Czechoslovakia as he watched Jimmy get passed on this shot. And Machir choked so badly he couldn't serve the ball. He had to serve underhanded. Jimmy came back 1-7-5, 6-love.
17 winners to 12. Favor of McEnroe. Sails out.
That's what you don't normally see, and that's what's of great interest to me. I'd like to ask him what really happens there. What's the little bit of difference between maybe 4 years ago and right now? Notice Mac was down 30-15, but he still attacked on the service return, and people don't expect that to happen.
Game to Jimmy Connors. 4-3, McEnroe in the second set, and turn to the Great Western Forum. McEnroe will be serving. On the Prime Ticket Network, Steffi Graf versus Zina Garrison. That'll be Tuesday night, December the 12th at 7:30 live on Prime Ticket. We had Steffi Graf and Zina Garrison in the finals of a tournament in San Diego first week in August, and Garrison had leads in both sets. And Steffi came on and finally won in straight sets, but it was a battle.
You know, Prime Ticket's put on some wonderful matches in Southern California. I think they've really taken a leadership role. Tell me who we haven't seen on Prime Ticket. That'd be harder to announce.
True. Vital game here for Jimmy Connors. Needs this to pull even.
Well, I tell you, when you can throttle Connors like that, you had to have a little pace. But I've had a couple pros tell me at one time they didn't think McEnroe hit the ball that hard. But I don't know too many people have been able to nail Jimmy to the wall like that.
In the finals in the south of France a month ago, Connors beat McEnroe 6-3, 6-3. As you look at John Bramlett.
Nice, comfortable look. He looks like the linesperson who may sleep tonight. I think Jimmy thought John was going to make a break for it, so Jimmy decided to double back. John hadn't made a move, so Jimmy had the whole court open, made the wrong decision.
You're the analyst, I'm the announcer, but to me that's the difference in this match. McEnroe with his sharp volleys at the net.
I think McEnroe's choice of shots at the right time. So major. Such a clever player.
30, love. That night, that's in. I thought it might drift long, but it did not.
Well, Jimmy's back there, 37. No way, man. That's a kid's an 18-year-old Carl Lewis. Mac really smart because he gets the long angle on that. Actually, he could have put the ball away. Jimmy coming up with it. Behind the back shot, a little hard to do. He didn't stay over that ball at all. He knows it. That's two. He's really mishit badly, you know. I mean, that ball went nowhere. Look at that.
McEnroe now with a 5-3 lead, and Jimmy Connors' back is to the wall. McEnroe 6-4 in the first. McEnroe 5-3 now in the second. But Connors can be very dangerous in this situation. John's waving to his wife, Tatum, and she waves right back. That's Joanna Moore, Tatum O'Neill's mother. Next to That was some outstanding shot. Now watch, this is right in the corner. Max somehow gets it in there right down the line. Service was wide, and it was called immediately.
What's this mean?
That's where... No, John, it wasn't that far. Matt went over and pointed about 6 feet away. No. My observation, it was wide. Not that wide. Ninth game of the second set. Connors is down 3-5 and up 40-15 in this game.
Quit looking at me!
He couldn't pick up the remark. Oh, quit looking at me. Jimmy says, Jan Ryan, I think that's worth 2 serves. No way. Now, even McEnroe holds up 2 fingers. Jan Ryan is in charge, I think. Well, we'll find out.
2 seconds, sir.
2 seconds serves, Jimmy yelled out.
Will you quit looking at me? Quit!
All right, let's play some tennis. 40-15. McEnroe will be back to try to serve out the set and the match. Now to see if he can serve out the match. Right after the last point, Connors was toweling off and Mac walked by. Connors threw in the towel. Not really. Brayton has left our TV platform and is down at courtside now. Points away from victory for McEnroe.
Tell you, Mike, down here his eyes were just as big as could be. He knew what he wanted, going for it, and he throttled it too tight. He reads the shot so well, and when he reads it, he can get his weight going forward. And when he gets his weight going forward, the ball comes back in about, fifth of a second. Too tough.
crowd of better than 9,000 here at the Great Western Forum. We'll have comments after this. For Jimmy Connors. And Mac is standing by with Vic Braden at courtside.
Mac, you've hit some very good shots, but sometimes you seem like you're just a little bit off touch.
Well, I felt great today. I felt like I was really moving well, and I felt real close, but they had a new service here at the Forum, and I was expecting a Supreme Court, and this really caught the two of us off guard, and the court was quicker than both of us expected, and it was tough to really get in a groove with your shots. But the bright side is that I move really well, and as soon as I start hitting the ball better in the next few days, I'll be really ready to go for the Masters.
You told me earlier that you're in great shape, and you look in great shape. What does that mean?
Well, it means that more often I can win some matches, for example, if I'm not hitting the ball great like I was tonight. A lot of times in the past, I'd have to rely on my ability to play tennis to beat guys when physically I wasn't hitting the ball, wasn't moving that well. But if I can consistently feel good, then I'll eliminate some of those losses I had because my body wasn't up to it.
You know, John, in many years I've been around pro tennis. Hitting the right shot at the right time means an awful lot. You pick out the right shot to hit sometime. I used to watch you take the service return and come in when no one expected it. When you do that, you almost always win the point. Sometimes you miss. Do you find you're able to attack the serve as much as you could 5 years ago?
Well, I feel that in this particular situation with the change of rackets, guys are going for more on both serves, so it's a little bit tougher to come in on their second serve or first serve as it was in the past. But the main thing is for me is to first get in a groove from the backcourt, feel like I'm serving well and consistently, then I'll start attacking more and more. I like to start back and move my way forward, whereas before I probably did a little bit the other way because I didn't worry about how I was hitting the ball from the backcourt. I feel it's a little more important at this stage. I'm forced to stay back a little more than I was in the past. Guys are standing farther back, hitting the returns harder. So you have to take that all into account. So I don't attack as much as I did, but for example, when I played Chang in Paris, I came in an awful lot on him. I felt good, hit the ball well, and ultimately, if I'm hitting the ball great and seeing it great, that's the best way for anyone to play.
Well, John, you are changing your game. The game is changing a little bit, but one thing that never changes is always fun to watch you play. Thanks you, Johnny. Congratulations.
Right,
appreciate it. Thank you. Let's go back up to Mike.
And the crowd of 9,100 plus really enjoyed the ability of these two in the match that they had. McEnroe winning 6-4, 6-4. And in the preliminary match, it was Jennifer Capriati over Laura Gilmeister in straight sets. Jimmy Connors now standing by with Vic.
Yeah, he's not standing by. This guy's grease lightning. He gets better, and he's making me eat my words on the serve. You're getting better on the serve, Jimmy. What's going on?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm learning how to play this game after 25 years, Vic. I don't know, but I feel that I'm hitting the ball quite well right now. I've played well since starting back and playing the U.S. Open, and I'm confident with my shots. I'm going for my shots. I'm going for a lot of first serves, and even my second serves I'm going for now. So I was just listening to Max, and it's important for him to get in the groove in the backcourt. Well, it's just the opposite for me now. I am in the groove from the backcourt, and it's better for me to try to keep moving forward and forward. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to cut the points down, make them a little bit shorter now that I'm a little bit older, and sometimes it works out.
Jimmy, I've known you since you're about 8 or 9 years old and watched you play way back in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
That's right.
And you've always been an attacker. Where'd that come from?
I think, number one, that was my upbringing. I was taught to play a forward game. Tennis is a forward game. And then I was also brought up on boards, on a varnished National Guard Armory floor, and that made me kind of take the ball on the rise a little bit sooner, especially on the return of serve, and try to keep moving forward. I've always been one to go for my shots, whether I was in the lead or not, and that's the way I've continued to play throughout my whole career.
Jimmy, you've been a hero for a lot of people. Did you have a hero yourself in tennis?
No, I never had any heroes. I respected a lot of the players that came before me. Pancho Gonzalez was one. I enjoyed his style. I liked his attitude towards his game and the way he went about it. A number of other players that were a little bit before me, but I never had any heroes. I always wanted to go out and to play my own way and to have my own attitude and my own personality, and hopefully I was successful at that.
Well, you got a wonderful personality. You got a wonderful game. You made me eat my words on the serve. And so I congratulate you, Jimmy. It's fun to have you around, baby.
Nice to see you, Vic.
Anyway, there's going to be a wrap-up coming back right after this.